Okay, so hello, and thank you so much for coming, and welcome to Saffron's seminar on a topic that I think we know is on the tip of the tongues of many, many learning and development professionals at the current moment, which is the ability to provide your workforce with effective and affordable coaching, but being able to do it at scale. So in today's session, we're going to explore whether that is a far-off dream or an achievable reality. So, to give you a brief introduction, my name's Molly, and I'm a performance consultant at Saffron Interactive. So my passion is being able to work with clients and use digital technology to help them deliver genuine business improvement. And I'm here with Ian.
And I'm Alvin Stardust, and I've got a microphone in my hands. But no, I'm Ian Hilder, performance consultant at Saffron. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for all joining us today.
All right, should we get started?
Go for it, Mol.
Okay, so let's maybe start by exploring why we even need to coach our people. So at this point, I think I'm probably preaching to the choir a little bit. We are all very much aware of the skills gap that we currently face. But in short, the rapidly changing world of work means that the number of skills required for a single job are increasing by 10% year on year. So many businesses are finding themselves short of the vital resource that they need to grow and innovate. And so, in an attempt to plug those short-term skills gaps, companies are spending in excess of £6.6 billion on recruitment every single year. And so, something's not working because the gap is continuing to widen. And that is because the current skills in the labour market can't meet the demand for the skills that businesses have. And so, businesses need to adapt from a purely hiring strategy to actually prioritising upskilling and reskilling their employees. So by embedding a learning culture that allows employees the time and opportunity to develop those skills, then we can accelerate that process and keep ahead of the curve. And so the reason you're all here, coaching is a potential solution to this. So what degree is it? Well, there's actually a direct link between organisations who embed a successful coaching culture and citing a tangible acceleration of the upskilling and reskilling process. So actually 67% of HR leaders strongly agree that coaching directly correlates to an improved workplace performance. And not only that, coaching can support an individual's ability to acquire new skills, but also improve their existing ones, as well as enhancing their ability to adapt to change. So what all of these things mean is that by upskilling and reskilling your people, you'll help your business thrive and not just survive in the current landscape. So, if we're looking to solve the skills challenge, then embedding a coaching culture might just be the answer. But like many things in life, that is easier said than done. So, before we go any further, maybe let's get you involved a bit. So I'd like to ask you a quick question. So can I get you to raise your hand maybe if you have currently got a coaching strategy in place in your business? All right, perfect.
I'm counting 4 there.
So we've got some people who have got it. And so if you do have a coaching strategy in place, it might consist of many different things and many different ways. So if somebody might want to share, does anyone want to share what their current coaching strategy looks like?
Those who did put up their hands, what would you define as a coaching system?
Come over to you.
So we're going to get feedback now. We're in early days, okay. So we are currently working on how are we going to improve the uptake and the embedding of all of the training that we give to people and to improve performance specifically across our sales teams. But we've just embarked upon a lot of coaching training with our managers to enable us to do that, and we are now looking at how we're then going to embed that into something that can be tracked over time.
Okay, brilliant. That's perfect. All right.
So that was sorry, did I hear that you're training your managers to do the sort of coaching? Okay. And is that a set program? Are they going to have to do different sort of times? Brilliant.
The coaching qualification.
Oh, okay.
Level 5.
Excellent. So there's proper training going in there. Brilliant.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Interesting that we only had 4 people there who put their hands up. And we're going to come to potential issues, I guess, in coaching in a minute.
Yeah.
Molly.
I'll carry on. All righty. Thank you so much for your help there. So as we mentioned, and as we're probably all aware, coaching can take many, many different forms and be defined in many ways. But what does an effective coaching strategy look like? In short, coaching should be a formalised and long-term programme that sort of helps an individual develop themselves and their skill set. And fundamentally, those sessions need to be consistent, they need to be regular, and they need to be structured. And so that kind of doesn't mean just ad hoc guidance or support sessions once in a blue moon or squeezed in every quarter. They need to be purposeful with the aim of encouraging improvement through reflective feedback.
It was good to hear that you were doing that coaching with your managers. All too often, coaching will be said, I go and tell them that they haven't done right on that or something like that. That's not coaching to our sort of definition here.
Yeah, because often coaching is delivered through external professionals. However, in many organisations, coach is kind of synonymous with line manager. And in fact, actually 90% of organisations, managers are expected to act as a coach, as an informal coach, and steer employees in the right direction. And it's often only the leadership suite who have access to those formalised coaching programmes. But I think the key is that needs to extend further. Because that's not to say that a manager cannot be a fantastic coach. It's just as often that the culture or even their own skill set isn't actually optimised to deliver that fully formed, successful coaching experience that employees need to achieve results. All right, so what's the nirvana then? What benefits can we actually achieve if we do have a successful coaching strategy? Well, unsurprisingly, there's numerous tangible benefits. It can actually help companies retain key skill sets within their workforce. So 93% of millennials at the moment say organisational commitment to development is actually integral to their ability to remain, to their tendency to remain with a company long term. And so by using coaching as an opportunity to give them those development opportunities, they're 2 times likely to stay at that company. And on top of the ability to acquire new skills and improve existing ones, coaching is also shown to bring about a 53% increase in productivity, a 61% increase in job satisfaction, and 48% increase in organisational strength. So I think what we've kind of learned is there's no time to wait. We all know coaching is a fantastic solution, so why can't we currently use it to upskill at scale? The reason is there's likely to be some barriers in place that we'll need to navigate. So before we go any further, let's wake you guys up a little bit again. Earlier we asked who had a current coaching strategy in place, and it was nice to see that there's some who do, but also some who don't. So what do we think maybe the limitations of the current coaching strategy are? Has anyone got any insight? Yeah, perfect. What have we got? Come over to you.
We have a very small number of accredited coaches in our company, so
it's the scale. Yeah, brilliant. Anyone else?
Sorry, was that small number? So that kind of goes to time and how far you can spread the programme?
The number of accredited coaches. Ian,
What?
we've got a hand up.
Oh, hello.
There you go, we're in. And I think picking up from that point as well about the internal versus external coaches, and whether you have those internal coaches who know the business, who know the people they're speaking to, who are maybe a little bit close to it, my own personal opinion, versus getting external coaches in who are EMCC, ICF accredited, but that is expensive.
Absolutely.
So it's that balance as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
That's
Zoe.
really, really valuable. So, thank you so much for that insight. So, as we have just sort of explored, there's lots of different limitations. One of those is time. So as you say, whilst many organisations can bring in those external coaches and do bring in them, for the executive suite, the time-poor line managers are often most likely to take on the coaching burden for the majority of the workforce. So that's a key issue. The frequency of sessions is also a key issue because currently 62% of externally delivered coaching engagements are just 2 sessions per month, and that's not really enough because coaching practice needs to be regular, it needs to be consistent, and so even if you are one of those individuals who does have those 2 coaching sessions per month, chances are the majority of people don't, and so sessions are likely to be even more infrequent and ineffective than that. And the next limitation is potentially quality as well. The issue with managers delivering coaching is that they've often received very limited, perhaps even 0 coaching training themselves. And so it's no surprise that the quality of the support they're able to deliver actually is quite varied. So that's one of the issues. And then the last one is the cost. It's a big one. The perceived cost of coaching, there's a reputation, perhaps rightly so, that coaching is hugely unaffordable, hence why it's often so reserved for the select few on the leadership track. Costs can vary, but actually the average cost for an executive coaching session of just 2 hours is over £1,000. So it's no real surprise that it's just reserved for the leadership track. So that's the 4 limitations that we have mentioned. But there's one missing one, I think. And I think our gentleman who answered a question earlier might have alluded to this, which I'm really pleased about. So we've got a missing one. And that is measurement. So a key missing piece of the puzzle is the ability to measure the outcomes of traditional coaching delivery. And so this is centered on the ability to measure and track success. Because even if we navigate all of those barriers that we've just outlined, we'd still struggle to measure the impact and the engagement that those coaching sessions have. So how can we clearly measure that the coaching has been effective, or use that insight to help understand specific business skills gaps or shape investment in future training? How can you see the progress or track an individual's learning journey? So ultimately, how can your business measure that the outcomes were a direct result of the coaching engagements? And a key thing, how can you track return on investment? We can get great anecdotal feedback from coaching sessions, but that actual hard quantitative data can be difficult to measure. So a digital approach to coaching might just offer us a solution. So what I'm going to do now is hand you over to Ian, who's going to delve into that a little bit deeper.
Fantastic segue, Molly. It's almost like we'd practice this.
Yeah.
So Molly has sort of taken you through the benefits of coaching, but also the potential sort of limitations. And I really want to kind of address, well, is AI, is digital a potential solution here? Before I want to get into that, oh, where's my slide? That's the one I meant. Before we get into that bit, let's actually just define what we mean by digital, so we've all got the same sort of concept in mind here.
Hey, I can do this bit myself, you know.
Did you hear her? Did you hear her? Did you not hear her?
I think she was just quite quiet.
Anyway, so you will get to hear her, hopefully in a minute, with our friend here. But what you can actually do with digital, and what we're talking about here at Saffron, is using digital avatars. We got closed captions on, at least. But what you can actually also do is audio, video, etc. Change, adapt them very quickly and easily. So let me introduce Ada to you.
Thank you. And hello, everyone. I'm Ada. I'm a video-based digital coach, and I love to talk.
So this is Ada, Artificially Intelligent Development Assistant. We had to come up with a name from somewhere. But what Ada is an AI-enabled video-based coach. So the technology is there where we could actually go around and we could actually digitize any of you really, and we can then get them to change the talk, the speech, the dialogue, so you can adapt it to any program, and you end up effectively having a conversation with the digital sort of coach in that digital environment. So what we're actually sort of doing there, and as one of our current clients said, is you're digitizing our best advisor. And that's kind of what we're doing. Not to say we're doing away with advisors, and I want to come on to that point in a minute or two, but yes, we're actually digitizing some of that coaching journey. The system itself, we talk about it as being a wraparound technology, so that you can actually integrate it with your learning management system, assessment tools, those sort of things that a live coach may bring in, action planning, etc. So it's a wraparound technology in that sense.
Would you like to see me doing my work?
We haven't got time to do all that, but if you are interested, we are only just over here, and we can actually take you through the Ada experience a little bit more, and how we're actually applying her to a leadership program for soft skills development. Okay, so where do we go now? But let's think about how digital technology fits into learning theory. So what we're actually kind of trying to do here with the digital technology is, first up, is we talk about it as being spaced learning. We're probably all familiar with Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve, and the same thing applies if we go into a conventional coaching environment. Your guys, I don't know how often they're going to be going in there and having a formal coaching program. At least you've got line managers, they're going to be there to help and assist. But if you're in a formal sort of program, maybe you have a session once a month. What are you actually going to remember? What are you going to action in between times? You can put the digital in there so that you can send nudges, send reminders, potentially little exercises to keep that, to remove that sort of peaks and troughs. And fitting in within that is the idea of deliberate practice as well. So deliberate practice, if you're familiar with it, is the idea that you break down actions and skills into their component parts. And to embed a skill, you do need to practice it. And Molly talked about the necessity of skills in the current environment and upskilling people. So again, you can deliver those nudges, those reminders, and even little exercises so that people aren't losing their skills. And that's all part of a continuous learner journey, really. And you've got the potential with the digital technology to actually make that open-ended. Most formal programs, particularly if we're bringing in outside contractors or something like that, are going to be time limited, they're going to be goal limited. But what you can do with a digital program is, yeah, you get to the end of the program, you completed your actions, great, go back again. Reassess yourself where you currently stand in soft skills development programs. That will give you another set of results, another set of recommendations, another set of actions. So you've got that potentiality just because you're in that digital environment of extending the program beyond what you may be restricted of doing within a conventional world. Some of the sort of knotty questions, though, that we kind of get thrown at us a little bit when we start talking about digital coaching as opposed to live coaching is, well, can it be both scalable and personal? Can it work alongside a live coach? And can it actually be emotionally intelligent? That's probably one of those ones that's a little bit scary around the edges. So let's talk about scalability for a second. It's one of the key advantages, obviously, and it's probably the first thing we think of. If we're in a digital environment, we can actually extend it well beyond that individual coaching that is often going to be, for a cost and all the other reasons, reserved for that privileged few. And we can make it available. We got it here, we got it on our phones, we got it wherever they want to do it. 24/7 availability, you can talk to as many people as you like. Scalability is not an issue, but can it also be personal while we're making it scalable? I'd actually argue that potentially, depending on how we define that, we can actually make it more personal, in that what we can actually do is that we're recording every interaction that somebody does with a digital coach. And so we can use that, algorithms behind, to steer a unique pathway through whatever the program might be that we're applying it to. And also what's true is that digital doesn't have a bad day. It doesn't forget anything, it doesn't miss anything, it doesn't just say, well, this worked for the last person I actually spoke to, go and do that. So you've got that potentiality with digital to introduce and put in that personal side as well. But how far can we take a digital AI coach? The reality is that we can take it to a certain point. We actually, in the programs we're running, we do get into some fairly sensitive issues, financial resilience, mental resilience, those sort of things. You can use a digital coach to go to a certain sort of point, but yeah, at a certain point, that coach says, hold on, I can't take you any further here. So we definitely do not think that digital coach replaces, you must have somewhere better to go. This is fun. Yeah, where? There you go. So what we're not saying is that a digital is going to replace a live coach. Very definitely not. And indeed, we see digital working alongside and supporting that live coach just as much as it supports the end user and the individual. So what it's really doing is taking away a lot of the legwork, a lot of that routine sort of stuff. But all of that data is going to be available to that coach, so they can actually see where are people struggling, how far have they got through a process, what they've flagged up are things they want to sort of talk about. So next session, they're already one step ahead, they can prepare. We can also flag up where I might be struggling. I haven't even been into the platform for a week or so or something like that. So that can become an alert which enable me as the live coach to provide targeted high-value support at the moment that we want to bring that in. More knotty one, can a digital AI coach be emotionally intelligent? If by that means that I can pick up that somebody walked out of just a minute ago and I pick up that whole nuance and I can relate to that and react to that, no, it can't. And I, for one, hope it never gets to that point where it's got that sort of emotional intelligence. But yes, you can actually pick up certain sort of things, and you can allow natural language processing, you can input audio, you can input video. We can pick up certain nuances from that with digital, really some keyword recognitions, and the digital can take it so far. But all of that data is then going to be available working with the live coach, so this then becomes that flag of where the live coach can pick it up. So it gets to a certain point. I'd flip it around though to say also, can the individual engage with the digital coach? Now, we Saffron, 20 odd years developing e-learning, digital learning programs, and I'm guessing there's a lot of L&D professionals here, and we all kind of know that if we can get the learner, the individual, emotionally engaged, then absolutely, they're going to learn better and more. Coaching in a way is almost designed to do this anyway, and you can get all the same sort of things in that you're using self-reflection points, you're using what they call the IKEA effect, the fact that you're putting time and effort into it, so you actually become emotionally engaged and you work through the program.
And don't forget I'm pretty cute. But if you'd prefer to choose one of my friends, well, I promise not to be too hurt.
And there's dear Ada again. But what you can also do with digital is you can actually, because it's so easy to swap in and out digital, you can change the characters so they're going to be relatable to whatever the cohort is you're talking to. You can actually, when somebody first comes in the program, give them the option of choosing from a range of digital advisors. So that is all about that empowerment and that investment sort of point of view. Okay, so to bring it full circle, Molly talked about one of the things that we had really struggled with in a conventional sort of coaching program is measurement. Ada had a predecessor, which was a career adaptability program, which is still live, still out there, been going 2 years or so now. And these are some of the results that we've actually been able to measure from that program. So in the first 6 months, went through a formal evaluation, 442 users, 79% had got to create an action plan, and out of that 79, we had 628 actions completed. So that is, I'm making a distinction there between hard data and soft data. So potentially you'd get some of that from a conventional program. It's going to be a struggle, it's going to be an admin process if you're working in a conventional environment. But all of that data is just kind of built in to a digital program. But you can also get into soft data, for want of a better term. So sentiment, how people are feeling, how people are developing as part of that program. You need to build it in, you can use that natural language processing, you need to build in how you're doing the questions and how you phrase it. But yeah, so we've seen rises in control, reduction in concern, and that competence level, very good at a certain sort of point, particularly once they've done the skills assessment and got some recommendations for development, very high competence levels. Now, that's going to go up and down. I'm not pretending that 92% is where they're all at the whole time. But A, can show that we are effective with digital, but also it's the whole data analysis part behind it all, which we haven't kind of touched on, but there's a massive data analysis happening there. So A, you can use that for your ROI, but what you can also use it for is for benchmarking. You've missed some good stuff, I tell you. You missed my album. You can actually build it in, so you can use it for benchmarking what you're kind of expecting to happen within a program. So at this sort of point, over time, we're expecting at that point high competence levels. if those people who aren't hitting that, well, those are the people, the 8%, those are the people you really need to concentrate some time and effort. So it's that whole thing of the blended, using it, and the targeted, etc., etc. Okay, I kind of got to the end here. We got our conclusions and wrap up.
We have. So I think the information that the information we've shared with you today kind of highlights the power of coaching when it's used effectively, and some of the very real limitations and barriers that you're likely to face. But it does offer a genuine solution to, and an effective way that you can upskill and reskill to develop your workforce. But I think in order to do that, we need to leverage digital, and that's kind of, I think, what we've summarised today.
Yeah. So we do have questions. So if there's any sort of questions that anybody wants to throw out now, Zoe, well done. And we've got another one there. Do you want to go for that? Yeah. I'll do Zoe. You go there.
You may not be saying well done after this question. I've got a question about confidentiality, because obviously when you have an external coach or you have a coach come in to coach you, that conversation is quite often confidential, even if there is sponsor-led and you have that review period. How does that sit when you do it digitally and you're benchmarking the data and using the data?
Good answer. Oh, God. First time I heard myself there. Good answer. A good question, Zoe. Absolutely. So, and indeed in the programs we talk about at the very beginning, we actually have that. So those confidentiality, GDPR and all the rest of it, etc. So people can actually reveal those. But you're absolutely right. It depends on what programs you're working. We've done some run around employability and things. So you can use the data anonymized for that sort of benchmarking as well. But likewise, you can actually make the data be confidential if you're doing it in certain environments with a one-to-one coach. So you won't have personal data being benchmarked, if that makes sense. So you're actually anonymizing the data when you come to do the benchmarking. But on that one-to-one, if that's the relationship and what's been set up from legal, you can build it whatever you want, to be honest. But if that's the relationship that's built in at that point, then it will be a confidential between the two people.
Right. Okay.
My initial reaction when I hear about a digital coach is to think, oh, that's not for me. I really want those human qualities in a coach. What is your end user feedback? What do people think of that? I imagine that's quite a natural reaction. Do you have anything to share?
Absolutely. So again, the program I described where we had the 442, and that was an evaluation program that we had to go through as well. So we were asking questions like that of how do you feel, how do you work with the coach, etc. It was actually very positive. Now, we're not going to pretend. We actually were hitting sort of 80 to 90% of, yes, I felt engaged, I felt it was supporting me through the journey. Now, we wouldn't pretend, though, that almost self-excluded would be the people who don't want to go there in the first place, if that makes sense. So we're actually sort of saying that what we're actually seeing is that there's a certain cohort, it's probably in the sort of 15, 16, 70%, who just don't even ever want to talk to a live person. They actually prefer digital, because there can be that sort of semi-threatening sort of environment for some people, a little bit judgmental when you go and talk to an individual. So you got that cohort. Then you got, again, it's around about that sort of 15, 16, up to 20% who are just not going there. This is around employability, that particular program, and so you were starting to get into digital exclusion and things like that in that area. So that's where, yeah, your life coach is still going to do it. But that does mean that you've got this cohort in the middle who are happy with it to a certain sort of level. So it's that working in tandem with the live coach, And you're right, we all use AI when we go on Amazon, we go on anything like that, and we don't think about it too much. And I'd absolutely say, and I'd never actually say, that if you've got a good live coach and can do one-to-one, that's going to be the best for everybody, for that individual. But there's no way you're going to be able to do that across an entire workforce because of all the reasons of cost, etc. So you're balancing off those sort of trade-offs, and it is that kind of in between, and that blended approach is what we'd always advocate.
It's finding what works for the individual, isn't it, and making sure that the program is suited to them and suited to the outcomes and the impacts that you want to deliver in your business. I think is the key.
I thought that was good. I can't remember, Jeremy Carlson. You were actually out in the audience
I am.
answering it. I thought that was really good.
I'm in situ.
Do we have anything else? Any other questions at the moment? Okay. Well, one question you haven't actually asked us is, would you actually trust an AI coach? Maybe that was going a little bit to your sort of thing. Would you actually trust an AI coach? I meant to say it earlier because it would have been a good joke. But when you're getting the blend between the live coach and the digital coach, you're looking for that Goldilocks point. Well, we've got a seminar coming up. Please scan. Molly and I, again, are going to be next Thursday on the 20th.
Next Thursday, yeah.
Talking about, reason I wanted to put the Goldilocks thing in is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. The bears being, what is it about digital that does make us go a little bit, ooh, I'm not so sure yet. So we do want to address some of those issues around the use of AI in particular. So do please join us for that seminar next Thursday. That's online, it's free, so you can actually sort of sign up. Otherwise, do please, I think we might have scanned most of you anyway, but if we haven't got you already, please scan, and we'll send you through the slides and the recording of this once it's available. And I thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.